afternoon. Thank you for moving over this direction. I don't feel like I have to yell quite so loud. There is a microphone in here. Can you hear me okay? In the back?
Can you use the mic for the
Can I do
video?
what?
Can you use the mic for the video?
If I have to.
You can't hardly hear over
Okay.
here.
We'll get a microphone then. Hang on a second. You gotta turn it on?
It's a large room. Test.
Yeah, I'm here.
Just a little.
Hey, listen, I'm a doer, not a talker, so sorry about that. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. So we'll start over again. I will use the mic, how's that? I'm Gary Coons from Forsyth County, and this is the Google track. I had a guy come up earlier and say, hey, you're doing the way, no, that's not me. So if you're not going to be in the Google journey to Google, then you need to leave. Oh crap, you're still here. Okay, so we'll get going. Again, I am a doer, not a speaker. So if you want this to be entertaining, sit there and be quiet, and I'll give you a show. If you'd like some good information out of it, then please participate, okay? Like I am not a speaker. So let's kind of go through what, by the way, I don't have like 10 on PowerPoint unless you get died 7 slides. So there's going to be a lot of interaction, so help me out, okay? Is anybody awake or are you still in the coma from lunch? We're here. I hear one person. We need to do calisthenics? No. That way, yeah, didn't it? So real briefly, I'll fill out the agenda here. So essentially, this is kind of what we're going to cover today. I'll give you a background of where we are, how we got the choices we made. Then we'll kind of move into choosing how we went about choosing our provider. And of course, it's Google, so the spoiler alert, there you are. Then we'll walk through a little bit about our implementation of what it took to get there, and some of the challenges and some of the victories that was unexpected. Then we'll do kind of talk a little bit about some operational support, what it take to support this model from everyday kind of nuts and bolts kind of deal. Go over a couple of lessons learned, and then we'll wrap it up with some Q&A. Again, this needs to be interactive. You know what it means, right? Yes. You talking to me too. Everybody's still asleep, man. Hey, listen, if I can come up here after last night, you guys ought to at least that way. Don't laugh. Okay, so that's we're a little bit on the background. Yep, that was good. Forsyth County, again, if you guys, we're kind of the middle state, sort of middle state. Winston-Salem, city of Winston-Salem, we're the county government. So we found ourselves in kind of a unique environment based on a lot of constraints. We was on Office 2003 on Windows XP computers, and with the just brilliant minds of Microsoft released Vista, we decided to stay on XP, and we also stayed on Office 2003. And with the downturn in the economy, then we actually found ourselves to the point where we didn't replace machines. So we ended up in almost perfect stalemate storm. We got a very stable platform. It did what we needed to do, and we stayed there. Now, as most of you probably know, at some point in time, you're going to have to pay the piper, right? So that's kind of where we found ourselves at. We was also, I forgot my clicker, so I'm having to go over here to do it. But as I hear from previous sessions, that's a good thing I forgot my clicker. So the guy next door will be changing my slides, right? So we was also in-house on Exchange 2007. We started out on Exchange, I guess, from a function standpoint, Exchange 5. We had an earlier version, it was kind of a prototype. And we kept upgrading 5.5 and went through the chain. At this point, we was on Exchange 2007. running the full Microsoft Office 2003 suite. And like I said, everything worked good, life was great, PCs ran okay. We just stayed at that static point for a while. Another thing to note, as a background, is Forsyth County did not have a full platform enterprise agreement. We do have an enterprise agreement for the servers and the cows and that sort of stuff. We did not have an enterprise agreement on the desktops, which obviously the office would be part of that. So the way we typically had done things in the past, like actually when we had money, that's when we replaced computers, we'd just buy the current version of Office for that, load it on there, life's good. You know, next time we replace the computers in 5 years, then we would upgrade their Office as well. So we did not have an enterprise agreement. We were Exchange 2007 and Office 2003. The other thing that kind of drove where we went is we desired a solution that would align to our strategy of any device, anytime, anywhere access. So as we was looking over where we wanted to be at, we was trying to figure out how do we get there? What are we trying to accomplish? You know, everybody's got these things, right? Or, you know, oops, I had one of those. You know, your phones, right? So you got your phones, your tablets, or phablets, or whatever you might be carrying, laptops, or all kinds of stuff. You know, technology is really cool. But we wanted to say, hey, how can we leverage, if we're going to have to do some kind of upgrade, it's going to be change. People want change. So and there's plenty of seats over here. I won't spit on you too bad. Yeah, as you're going through this, we decided, hey, we got to make a change anyway. So how can we move in a direction that will align to our corporate strategy or enterprise strategy, any device, anytime, anywhere? So, and then, as part of local government, the one thing that drives everything else, or at least has a huge impact, is show me the money, right? So whatever solution we found had to be one that was cost effective. So, everybody still with me? Yep. Everybody thinking themselves yet? Okay, good. So, kind of leads us into choosing providers. We started, gosh, I'm trying to think now, almost 3 years ago from now, on kind of evaluating the marketplace, what's out there, what we meet, the goals, and how we get from point A to point B. So we realized that in order, the only way to meet our strategic direction of anytime, anywhere, any device access would have to be a cloud provider, because unless we just built out this huge local portal, you know, for on-prem access, then the best solution is going to be a cloud provider. So that was one of the directions. We started looking at essentially the two major players at that point in time was Office 365, which was kind of an early rollout back 3 years ago. And of course Google, which Google's had the advantage of, they didn't have a legacy product support, so they was kind of ahead from that standpoint. We ended up doing an RFP for cloud services. We did not specify Google or Microsoft or any other product. And the returns on that RFP, several Google solutions. I had 2 vendors that proposed Microsoft Office 365 solutions. Even though in our testing, 365 just really didn't meet our needs for what we were trying to accomplish. So it turns out that the low-cost solution was actually about half of what the lowest Microsoft proposal was. So that was a good thing for us. So better criteria, be cost efficient. We this product that internally in IT we wanted anyway. And so that's kind of how we got to that point. We did actually put out an RFP with our requirements and was hoping somebody maybe overlooked, a solution or something would come up, and nobody came up. It was Google and Microsoft. The next step after that, so you with me still? All right, good. Got one person waiting. So the next step after that is choosing a cloud integration partner. And again, through the RFP process, this kind of went in together that we did kind of vet out some early providers in the process, and we made sure we included those in the RFP from a vendor standpoint. And it turns out that we did find a partner that we worked through out of Atlanta, did a good job for us. And I've got more to say about that in the lessons learned, but anyway. So Next thing we did, once we, come to the point that we was going to do a Google solution internally, we recognized that because people love change so much, that we might just need some more help with the training and the introduction. So what we did was identified some of our more savvy users, some of the more energetic users that a lot of them already use Google. We sent out a survey and said, how many use Gmail at home, for personal use or whatever, and we got a lot of response back. And then we asked for volunteers. Okay, would you like, since you've got experience with Google, would you like to be in your department to be what we call a Google guide? It's basically a local champion within each department, and some departments have a lot, depending on the size of the department. Our interagency communications didn't have any because there was only 2 people in the department, but our social services ended up having a lot of people in that. So we kind of focused this group, brought them in, and it was kind of an extended IT support, infrastructure for us, if you will. So we included those guys in some of the meetings, our planning meetings, what we're trying to do, the training environment, so forth like that. And that turned out to be one of the really good things that we did that was very successful. Really, they was real key from a change management standpoint. They were our change champions. So it really doesn't matter which solution. If you're looking to make a change in your environment, this is a really good way to do it, is find those champions, those departments that you can lean on. Because it's easier to get somebody else saying, man, you got to see this, come look, versus IT, which everybody loves, saying, you have to do this, we're throwing something else on you. So Google Guide's going to be really good. Implementation piece. Any questions so far? Comments, thoughts?
You said Office 365 didn't need to be, what were some examples?
Some examples, like I said earlier, when we started the process, a little bit over 3 years ago, we did evaluations for a year. And part of what, in order to be able to render the documents and the functionality we needed, we would actually have to go to the tier of 365, which lets you do on-site software, lets you do your downloads. And so we'd basically right back to the model of your software and then local to do those features and functionalities that you would need to do versus being able to truly do it from the cloud, where they call it web apps, whatever they call it. The other thing, 365, now again, we've been on Google for over a year, so it might have changed as technology changes. The other thing that we found is the collaboration side of it. Google's collaboration features is phenomenal. I mean, you can have, Robin, you in here? How many people could you have in a spreadsheet at the same time? Like 255 or something like that. If you know, I don't know why guys think here want that many people in a spreadsheet at the same time. But you can do that, because in the old days, when we had Office Local, finance guy he'd modify a spreadsheet, he'd email it. I mean, if it's in the same department, build a local file share. If it was, you'd have to email it. They would get it edited. Well, they may send it out to 4 or 5 people. They all edit it and send it back, and then that person's sitting here reading this and trying to integrate these changes in. And Google, you just share a link. Everybody gets and does their things on the same spreadsheet. You're not copying multiple copies around. So that worked really good, and Office 365 could not provide that functionality at the time we evaluated. Again, in all fairness, I haven't ran it in the last year, so I don't know what they offer now. But the other really cool thing about the collaboration side, since we're down that trail, is by default, Google provides in their apps version histories. So you got all these people that you may have shared out with your spreadsheet, your Word document, PowerPoint, whatever you shared out with them, and they're making edits and changes, and you got somebody that either fat fingered something, or they entered their data in the wrong cell and messed everything else up, or changed the paragraph. You know what I'm saying? You've got people that can do that. So within the Google, you can go back and say, show me the version history. Who made what changes when? At any point in time, you can roll back to that version. Or you can look at that version, copy what you need, and put it in your current version. So the version control is well implemented in the Google world. Again, at that time of evaluating, Office 365 you get all of that. So, good question. Any other questions? In the back.
Is that using Google Docs, or it will support Office as well for the version history?
Google Docs, and within the Google Apps application, we was using the Google tools. So it's docs and sheets and slides. Now you can load anything up in the Drive. So I think it's called, Microsoft has something called OneDrive, I think. And of course we Dropbox and everybody else. But in Google, they have things called drives. So you can put any type of document you want to there. And Google has viewers for those. But if you want to edit them, you typically take it to the Google format.
Okay.
And then you can download it back to a Word doc or Excel or a CSV or wherever you want it to. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Most recently released support for versioning of non-native Google documents.
I haven't played with that because I'm living in the Google world, man.
The new drive, you can edit natively. It came out a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, well, that's good information to know. So, which leads us back to another one of our benefits is that rather than us trying to find, like I said, we updated our office every time we replace machines, which in our case was about every 5 years. In the Google world, really, on the Office 365, I'm assuming it's the same way. They're making updates and changes constantly. So things are just getting better and better and better. So that's good. That's 2 weeks. I actually haven't played with that. So I very rarely open anything that hadn't been put in the Google format now. But so good comments.
Is there, we're talking about Google and Microsoft, is there a third option out there on? I don't know one, I'm just sure I've asked. And I don't know what.
Well, you got your small players. I mean, there's a lot of, there are some .coms out there that have all this kind of like availability. We looked at some of that. No enterprise level stuff. If you're a startup or something, you can get out. Google is a subscription license product. You pay by the user. The way they figure it, retail price is $50 a user a month. You know, $50 per user per year. That's retail. You can do better. But user. So if you, so like I said, retail is $50 per user per year, and that gives you everything. There, you know, Microsoft has different tiers. Google has one tier, and you get it all. It is for education, yes.
So you all not on university?
No, we're a county government. We don't qualify for that. Believe me, I tried twisting their arms.
They have 2 tiers now. They have a $50, which is 25 gigs storage.
Yeah.
And there is an unlimited storage now, which is like $110 a month. So I'm actually just starting to evaluate this.
Okay, well, good. You can pitch in help. When we did it, was only one. And actually, any documents or anything in the Google format doesn't count against your space. So really what that space is your email attachments and any non-Google native apps. If I upload a PDF in the drive, it would count against that space. We've got the 25 gig. Haven't heard anybody complain at all. A good way. Yep. So we buy Office. I'm just being honest with you, man. Google don't have a database product, so we use Office for those folks. Again, it kind of goes into some of the implementation things that I'm going to build out here. From a technical implementation side, we did have to look at stuff like, you know, what happens if somebody's using Access. And what we found in our organization, it is a lot of people that had Access was using it because they went to an Access class and they came back and was there and they decided to build something. What they really needed was to put that stuff in a spreadsheet because it really wasn't doing, you know, the keys and relational things that you're doing. And we have some that aren't. But for a lot of our users, we simply just convert that into a spreadsheet and in a way they win. The other thing from the technical implementation side, does that answer your question? Okay, from the technical implementation side of things, it's fairly easy to set up. Again, we was on Exchange local, so we want to move our email and everything out into the cloud. So, you know, for us, we change MX records that's pretty much it. And your email starts going on there. Well, again, a benefit for us was that we had Proofpoint for anti-spam filter. And we was over 90% of our emails was coming in, which our internet pipe was spam. It was dropped at the Proofpoint clients. It was quarantined there until it expired, never got delivered. So what we did, since we now, our MX record now points to the Google Cloud, is they get all that crap. It doesn't come in my internet pipe anymore. So that's, you know, one of the advantages. So we do that. The other challenge or thing to think about is archiving, your email archiving. So how many of you guys actually archive emails? How many of you have a mandate to archive emails? Okay, we don't. We asked our attorneys years ago, and they decided they didn't know what it meant, so they didn't answer us. So, we archived email on Exchange 2003 because we were running out of space in our information stores, right? So we had an archiving solution from that point for our benefit, not necessarily because of the e-discovery. So when we moved to the Google world, we opted for the Google Vault, which is their archiving, which again is that add-on. That is an add-on cost, the Google Vault piece. Had no way to import our legacy data from, we used the email extender, which now is Source One. So we had no way to do that. So as of today, still, we have two archiving solutions. We got a legacy, a place to go back and look for everything over a year ago, and then we can search our Google Vaults for anything since that cut over time. But it's just something to think about. So there are solutions out actually here at the conference. Talking to the vendors downstairs, they may have something that's going to help us out with that. So we'll definitely pursue that moving forward. The other thing from a technical standpoint that you guys need to think about, if this is something that you're considering, is how much historical stuff are you going to move. We ran a product back in the Bell days for email called Pegasus Mail. Has anybody heard of that? Are you that old? And then you're going to admit it. We got 1, 2, 4 takers here. 3. Okay. We ran Pegasus Mail. It was great on PCs running DOS. Windows was okay, but when we migrated finally over enterprise-wide to Exchange, we pulled all that data over and stuck it. Of course, it got stuck in a PST file, and it never goes away. It just follows you and follows you and follows you, right? So one of our things was decide how much of this stuff we're going to move. So we made the choice to move mailbox data. If it was in a PST file somewhere, it was going to stay in a PST file. Now, if you needed it, which we had a couple people request it, then we would go on a case-by-case basis and import this PST and do that. But overall, that's our path. We chose just to move whatever was in the Exchange mailbox. So that's something you need to think about. Because again, other than being a lot of work, it's really no negatives in pulling that historical data in. One of the real advantages for having it in Google is, what is Google? How did it start? It is a big search engine, right? And it searches things very well. You can find crap in your Gmail that you forgot you ever had, just by typing a couple of keywords. And the same search capabilities through all the documents and stuff too. Google's a great search engine, so that's an advantage that we have. So we actually pull that stuff in. The other thing to consider is you're making a change. Did everybody here a keynote guy yesterday? Right, drew a frame, brain frame, right? So Google is going to be one of those things that is going to either stretch your little brain frame a little bit, or at least reposition on your paper, because conceptually the way they do things is conceptually different than the traditional Office Outlook Exchange kind of thing. Calendars are one of them. They work great. They are not Outlook. Okay, so there's a little bit of planning needs to go into the calendaring, the resource management, and the groups. And Google has tools to do this. It's just that for an IT shop, it's where you plan ahead. So you plan, and you'll end up with a successful project. One of the other technical changes we made, actually prior to ever choosing to go Google, is internally we chose, and actually thanks to NC Fast in a lot of ways, we chose to make our default browser Chrome. Everybody say the sheriff's department. Thank you. That was right. But and moving to the Google solution, that it works really great, of course. The Chrome we found, like I said before, we ever moved the products to be a better browser for us. So that's one of the things that we did early on. There's a lot of plugins for the Google Apps stuff that plug right into Chrome that makes life a little more easier. So it's just something to consider what browser you pick. And I noticed your mic, you got a Chrome over there on your, is that a Chromebook? So yeah, we're using a lot of Chromebooks too. They're great devices. The other thing too is from a technical standpoint is things that you might not think about. How many use WebEx or a GoToMeeting? So an Outlook, that's pretty much is part of there. You go schedule meetings. Oh yes, I want this to be a WebEx meeting. It just does it and sends all the people that are right. You use that feature or not? I mean, if you don't, I'll skip to the next one.
No.
So, no. Okay, skip. Did you say no or yes? Yes, okay. So we did too. So that was one of the other things that we found is all that functionality is there in Google with the calendars. It's just implemented a little bit different. So we used a third-party product called ESNA, E-S-N-A, and they provide our WebEx plugin, so it's single click, does all the same things that Outlook does. So again, it's a browser interface. It is not Outlook. It will do pretty much everything you want to do. It just, you got to shift your little brain frame a little bit, right? Do things just a tad different. So how do you use folders in Outlook? Yeah, okay, there is no such thing as folders in Google. I had my director just freaked out over that. He's a little bit older than me. But it's like, it doesn't matter. You tag something. You tag them or label them, right? And the really cool thing is in Outlook, whenever you got something that may be building related and maybe related to a capital project and maybe related to something else, what you got to do, you got to figure out which folder am I going to put it in, right? Because you got to pick a folder. When in Google, you don't. You got 3 things that relates to you, put 3 tags on there. And again, you can search it however you want to. So again, it shifts the brain frame just a little bit, but it's all very doable. But calendars, shared resources, and groups, how you manage them is a little bit different. So you need to kind of consider that and prepare for that. Forms and templates. If you've got an organization that relies heavily on Microsoft Office forms or templates, it's something going into the project that you need to plan for. It's all doable. It all works. You got to plan for it. Most of it works. We found some stuff in our social services that was a little bit challenged on how they did form. They did a lot of stuff in Microsoft Word using templates and buildable forms, and we had to do a little process re-engineering for them, which turned out to be a good thing because they found out they were doing a lot of things they really didn't need to do, and it was duplication, but they did it that way because I always done it this way, right? So it gave an opportunity to rethink those business processes. But it's going into it, going to templates you need to plan for. The other thing I mentioned earlier about the Google Guides and so forth is the social implementation. You know, in IT, we get really focused a lot of times on the technicalities. What's the technical requirements of this project? How much is this going to cost? How many servers do you stand up? How long is the rollout going to be? What's the fallback plan? How are we going to back this crap up, right? So IT can really focus on the technical details as well. I actually hired somebody on my team a year and a half ago or something. It's our client relations manager. Her job is to remind me of all the things I'm doing wrong. So to bring up and she's our customer advocate, and she's bringing stuff to us on behalf of our users. And it's like, hey, don't forget about this, or don't forget about this. I'm like, shut up, Robin. But no, seriously, it brings to the table of things that I tend to forget. I'm a get it done person. I'm gonna figure it out, I'm gonna do it, and we'll roll with it, and you'll just get over it. But the social aspect of that is really managing change. I know we've had sessions here in years past on how to manage change, how to get people on board and that sort of thing. But with any change, I don't think if you're going from Microsoft Office to Office 365, there's going to be change. And so you need to plan for that social implementation. I had marketing. We did like movie posters and just marketing and stuff on doors. We did Google. I said we had Google Guides. We had shirts. We had Google pens, Google coffee mugs. Just different things. It's really doesn't. In typical county governments, we don't really think about that kind of stuff. But the PR is really important. So you bring the social aspect in for users. And you really are trying to create an environment that they want to join. If they want to join, they want to be there. If they're not there, they're feeling left out. You feel left out? We're trying. But so you're really trying to build an environment that says, hey, I want to join on that. So, and that's a very important part of the plan. So, did I forget anything, Robin, on that? You're the one that actually managed most of that change. So, all right, we're good to go there. Challenges. Are there challenges with it? Sure. Challenges with everything. I like to look at challenges as opportunities. I try to rephrase it instead of saying, what's the problem, or what issues are you facing? It's an opportunity to figure out a better way to do something, or an opportunity to figure out a way to do something that you didn't know about. Maybe you have to stretch yourself a little bit and learn, but it's an opportunity to either better a process or better something else. So there are challenges like the floods and complaints, the access. Is another challenge that we had, is an opportunity to reevaluate what are you doing. Like I said, one of our things, we found out a lot of our users really didn't need a database. They wanted tables, so we put it over in a spreadsheet or a set of spreadsheets. So it gives us an opportunity to kind of work through those things. Microsoft's inevitably in all of our organizations, most likely, I haven't seen an organization in several years that didn't use Microsoft in some way, shape, or form. So Active Directory. The Google solution integrates well with Active Directory, but again, something we planned for. Our Active Directory structure was one where our OUs, every department was a separate OU, we broke it down below that, which works fine, except it's not exactly the way Google had it in mind when they did their organizational structure. So it's just an opportunity to go back and say, why are we doing this? For instance, I mean, one of the things we always did was we always put workstations under a separate OU within the department's OU, instead of just leaving them all under, the computer or whatever. We still leave them under computers, but we did change how it is. So it's okay to change the way you do stuff. If you have something set up for a reason, that's great. But it's an opportunity to say, do we really need to do it this way? Is there a better way to do it? One thing that we forgot all about, because I'm too busy looking at the technical side of stuff, is now this is now no longer on our servers within our organization, right? It's now at another agency. That agency happens to be Google, and we're all over America. But it's not like HIPAA agreements, right? So if you've got health information, we'll protect it, protect the information. You may need some agreements that you didn't think about. When we was hosting our email internally, and our own files and everything else, we are the agency, so we don't sign agreements ourselves. That is an easy agreement. But anyway, things like that, just keep it in mind if you're planning a move like this. There's other aspects, other senior stakeholders that you may need to work on. And believe it or not, the BAA ended up being a more challenging challenge for us than it should have been. But that was because we have some wonderful attorneys. Wide-scale training, again, with change, people get really paranoid about that. So, plan it out. We did, we did live webinars. So, we hadn't done that before. One of the things that we forgot about was one of my predecessors, when they put out PC, the ball as cheap as they could, so there was no speakers on any of our computers. Pretty dang hard to have live webinar with no speakers on the computers, right? So what do? We ended up buying like 1,500 earbuds and plugging in our computers. Honest to goodness. But I mean, as I said, an opportunity for improvement. From now on, we buy speakers on our computers for like $12 a day. Not a big deal. Doesn't really impact the bottom line that much. So we did live webinars. We had, it was good results with that, but people learn different. We did, of course, live training in the classroom and on premise. We did do kind of bite-sized chunks. The first series was just here's about talking about what's going to happen, what we're getting ready to do, get you excited about it. Then we go back maybe a month later or something and do, we're going to teach you how to use Google Mail, Gmail means. Here's how you do labels. Here's how you move stuff around. Here's how you search stuff. Then we'll do a session on drive training. What can you put up there? How do you open that? That sort of stuff. So that was really good. The other thing we did was pre-recorded materials. Google has a tremendous amount of information out there that's free to use, free for anybody to grab. They got them in bite-sized chunks. You can get video or just read it and stuff. We also partnered with a company called Boost eLearning. It was a subscription thing. We did it for 1 year. We did not renew it this year, but it was right there in your help. Anytime you had help, there was a Boost eLearning option, which gave video on whatever page you was on. So if you was on, if you had like sheets open, you go ahead and help. We'll take you right to the sheets and say, okay, what do you need help with? And it'll show you a little 5-minute video. And here's how to or mail merge, whatever you're doing. So we found that helpful. But again, as we migrated past that, we actually chose not to renew that piece of it for this year. But it was a great tool while we was making the transition. So that's one thing we did. Yeah, it fell off the bottom of the screen. Anyway, my last point was, you can't see me, it fell off that particular projector, is is our Google Guides. I mentioned that, I think we talked about that a fair amount. Get your departments, get your champions, get them on board, give them green shirt. We call them green shirts. We bought green shirts that says Google Guide. But give them something that they can recognize. We did little things they can stick on their office cubes or the doors and say, hey, I'm a Google Guide. And it's like, hey, I know who to go to if I got a question. I say, hey, how do you do so-and-so? Well, here's how you do that. And it saved a lot of help desk calls for us, lots of on-site support. Because in an IT shop, we're typically staffed for day-to-day operations. We're really not staffed for any kind of major changes, right? So we, like I said, just embody those early adopters. Took advantage of that. Yep, that's most of my notes on that. Any questions on kind of how we implement it or things to consider? Yeah, good job. Sorry.
All right, so you were running XP.
Yes.
What are you running, how did that affect your PC purchases going to a web-based?
It didn't affect the PC purchases at all in that we had to replace those because on XP we need to go to Windows 7. So it was actually a parallel project that we did. So basically, when the economy was tight, we didn't do anything. We stayed stagnant on everything. So we started getting some dollars in. Our county manager and budget and all them finally realized, oh, we got to give them some money because these machines are literally 7, 8, 9 years old. So they gave us money to buy machines, replace them, and move to Windows 7 from that standpoint. But in parallel, we did the Google Apps because the savings there for us, and I think the savings there for us was when we did those PC purchases, we did not buy Office for those machines. So we saved some money on the initial purchase of those machines from that standpoint. But overall, it was a parallel task. Mostly non-related other than stakeholder relations. Yes, law enforcement they maintain their own. I thought I didn't let me. Thanks. Law enforcement maintains their own IT staff. We do. The county provides all the infrastructure, route switch, fiber, copper, telephones, all that stuff. But they have a staff that does like they do OSSI, and they manage their endpoints. So they actually they didn't move this. The attorney's office moved. That was one we left office up there for them, just from their old design too, most of them. So we had places we left office. We couldn't do 100% about. Now, everybody has Google, but we left office on some of those machines. And what's happening is actually they're like using Google and they're using Office less and less. We run SCCM for management on it, so we get reports on the times each word over the last 5 days. So, any questions? No, not file share data. What we did, as part of the training, is we talked to people, is hey, when you need to edit this Word document that you've got on your, we have an H drive and an S drive for home and shared. So if you've got a document on a file share that you need to edit, you upload it into Google Drive and edit it, because when you upload it, it converts it, and from there on it's in Drive. So we didn't do any mass file migrations into Drive. The reason we didn't is because if you look at your statistics on files, we ran on our file servers, and we had over 70% of our files on the file servers have not been touched in over a year. And why in the crap we can't? Yeah. But I ain't got enough time in my day to go manage what people keep and don't keep. So we made a choice not to upload all that with the idea that if you need it, you'll upload it. Now we do Drive. Drive has like a plug-in to Explorer, so it makes it real easy for them to do that kind of stuff. But good question. I got two. I think Red. No, it's available. It's not required. If you turn it on, it's a requirement. It's for everybody. So unless you got a really big help desk that's willing to do a lot of help for people, don't turn it on low. It's an option that's available. We may turn on at some point, but right now, no. But you can say you can't use it. So you do. You can't use it, have to use it, or you can use it if you want to. We're in, you can use it if you want to. Here's back here a minute. Yep.
Is there any email encryption solutions?
There are, we're looking at some of that right now. Cloud Circus has a plugin that does that, with Zixmail. It's got a partnership with Zixmail that does that as a plugin to Google Apps that we're looking at. But overall, what we typically do is you need a encrypted file, or we use an Xcrypt to encrypt the file, attach it to regular attachment, email it on, which we was doing that in exchange too.
Yeah, I know you mentioned law enforcement, they didn't move over with your health department or anybody that's HIPAA data.
Yep.
Did you, we're looking at the solution too with Google Docs and possible. Did you have a solution where you siloed off the data, or you got HIPAA data here?
We did end up signing BAA with Google that met those requirements from,
Was that additional, because that's one of the things we're running into, that agreement, having that data siloed off is an additional cost. I didn't know if you guys.
yeah, we run Google Apps for Government, which automatically silos where your data's at to start with. We did not silo it within our departments. So our health department is in the same Google domain that the rest of us ran. As an organization, we signed a BAA with Google, which basically holds them accountable for HIPAA regulations and all that. So they are a business partner of ours now. So that's kind of how we handle that.
Have you, or are you doing away with trace drives now?
No, we're still using that. Like I said, we chose not to do a mass import up into Google from all the files because it's got a lot of crap that people don't open every so often. So there's still a lot of stuff out there on that. At some point in time, we're certainly not growing that environment, but we did not remove our file shares. Good question, Elaine. All right, how we doing on time? What time is it be out of here? Yeah, we started late anyway, all right? Operations support, I was kind of iffy to say, user account maintenance. I'm sure you guys got a way of setting up that you do it every day or every other day, or we do it once a week. Google has a lot of tools that helps with this. It makes it automatic. It's getting set up from a technical standpoint. You need to understand the tools up front. You'll implement it. They got tools called GADS, GADS, Google, I don't know what it is, Google Apps, something else. But you got GADS and your conversions. There's a tool called Gaming. But Google's really got all the tools for you. You don't have to buy anything else. You just familiarize yourself with the tools. Because you're going to want to do things like sync your users and sync your groups. So when we create a user work group in AD, it syncs to Google. We don't go to Google and manage user separately. We do not do single sign-on, but with the GAS tool, it does automatically sync our user bank groups. So something to plan for. Really easy. Like I said, once we got set up, it just happens. And if we disable a user in AD, he gets disabled, or Google calls it suspended, but they get suspended in the Google program. So that works really well. I've already hit on this. The email archive discovery is something to take in on the front end, to plan for how you want to handle that, how you want to handle that, how much historical data you want to bring forward. But that's something that is an ongoing thing. Like I said, right now, today, we don't have the best environment. Anything over a year ago, we go to source one search, and then we search Google Vault for everything from that time. So it basically takes two searches to pull together the discovery request today. But something to plan for. Google Apps Drive Store, we talked a little about that. Didn't really have anything other than to say that was one of the features that our users absolutely love. Because when they're home, 10 o'clock at night, or whatever, working on a document, they don't have the flash drive plugged in and make it on the spreadsheet. That stuff's in the drive, it's there. So they can get to it. I've actually had people update their stuff sitting on the picture of their phone. The only reason I know they did that is because email me told, this is really cool, this is what we did, because I had it up in Drive, and then we'll go edit that document, or look at that, forward it, whatever. So that's one of the things, I don't know, you guys done like a sync and share solution, like a Dropbox or Box.com or anything like that? So Drive basically eliminates that need, because you're doing the same thing. And it, again, it becomes part of the solution, it's just there. So other than, you said we had a price tiering for unlimited storage, we haven't hit our storage yet, so basically one price, $5. It's there. Users love that. Again, net our strategic direction of any device, anytime, anywhere, access.
I guess one question I have on that is how do they share data among users?
Okay, that's one of those brain frame shifts. In our former days of the H drive and S drive, IT owned the file shares, right? So if you have a request for somebody to have access to that, it's called IT, we create NTFS permission and they had access to that file. In the Google world, the users own the files. So whatever you've got in your drive, you own it and you can share with who you want to. One thing we did as an administrative standpoint, we said you can't share outside the organization. But anybody within the organization, share as much as you want. So they actually control their own, so it's a lot less cost to us. They can share things when they want to just by sticking an email in. I want to share this with Chris. Bam, done. So it works very well. We just love that. No, Google's really updating stuff pretty regular. I was on Google since 2010, and back then, the new versions that come out was like .x. It would open it within a matter of less than a month, and you have to plug in and it works. They're really good about updating that stuff. That's one of the advantages of probably any SaaS solution, is they're going to be rolling in with those current changes. So, I had real quick, put the mobile devices. Like I said earlier, everybody has these guys and phones, and they want your email and contact and comment and all of that. What we decided to do was set up kind of like a Genius Bar kind of idea. We set up allocated time and place where people can bring their devices in. When we made the switch over to Google, we basically reset their sync stuff for their Androids or iPhones or iPads to go fetch rather than trying to send out directions. We did send out the direction, here's what you need to put in these fields, but we also, just as a really PR kind of thing, so bring your device and stop in any time between, I think it was 9 to 4 or something, drop in and go up and get set up. That was a big hit. People like that. And people bring in a lot of devices. I mean, it's like, yeah, I got my personal phone, a work phone, an iPad, I got an Android, I got this, I do my notebook too. So, from a planning standpoint, operational support, you need to have a plan for that. I'm sure you already do now, because people already want access to their emails from their devices. So it's just one of the things that, operationally you're going to want to keep up. Lessons learned. Every time you do a project, you always figure out something. You have to see, hindsight's 20/20, right? You always figure out something you wish you knew at the time, but you wish you did different. So we did the same thing. I like to learn. Familiarize your team with the Google tools. Like I said, Google has a lot of stuff out there. They're free. I really like that, especially in the space we're in, right? Free is good. So they've got a lot of free tools. It's not their first rodeo. They will help you. Google will help you. I actually have a Google rep that, yes, they really exist. So there's a lot of tools. So really familiarize your implementation team with these. What you'll probably find is you don't really need much third-party help as you thought you might, because really Google's got to figure it out. So just familiarize yourself with the tools, the options, the GAS, the GAMI, and so forth like that. It helps a lot. We knew that it was out there. We really initially depended on our partners to come in and do this for us. After all, we paid them for it, right? And what we found out was it's not that hard. They're charging me a lot of money, so we can do it. So we pretty much picked it up fairly early in the project and internalized most of the implementation ourselves. Mostly because if we do it, we know how to fix it, right? So, and unfortunately, we've got enough staff that I could allocate to learn those tools. So familiarize yourself with tools that are free. Like I said earlier, plan for third-party touch points. Your WebEx extensions, your unified messaging. Everybody run unified messaging, right? And Outlook, we run Cisco, so we just it's plugged in internally to Exchange server. So again, there's solutions for that. We have unified messaging with Google. Our voicemail out our Cisco system goes straight into our emails. We listen to them either on email or phone, and it keeps them in sync. If I delete them from my computer or from my phone or wherever, it deletes out of the Cisco solution. And so they're there. You probably have more third-party touch points than you think you do. So just kind of early in the process, go down and list what you've got. So WebEx and something like that, the BAAs. We forgot about the BAA, so we was too busy solving technical challenges. Forgot about the legal part of it. So my health director promptly reminded me of that fairly close after that. And again, the social impact, change. People, I don't care what you say, people don't like change. Change happens all the time. Just plan for it. Like I said, said, it really is helpful to get your champions, identify them early in the process before you ever sign contracts or anything else. Identify them early, bring them in the loop, make them part of your team, and you'll find that on anything, it's not just going to Google, but this was our journey. That was a great thing we did. Drive, you was talking about drive earlier, I got to ask a question on drive. One of the side benefits that we didn't plan for, that turned out to be a really good benefit, is we reduced our VPN usage drastically. People do not VPN in to get their files anymore because it's already in the file. They got a new drive. They just get to them. They don't really need our VPN solution at that point. So there's a lot of side effects, some good, some bad, but that was one of our benefits. They actually reduced and nobody dialed for it. I mean, my dialing sort of sits there. That was good. Okay, it's time for a break, right? So really good questions on that, because that actually brings me into the Q&A part, which I appreciate your questions throughout the process, because I'm a doer, not a speaker.